How's it going, everybody? This is James and Ashley here at Judson Real Estate in Ramona, and today we're inland, but we're going to talk about the difference between coastal and inland, and maybe, obviously her being a coastal gal with the good tan and me being from up here in the country, so we're going to talk about kind of the differences of each and some of the benefits and kind of pros and cons of each. So what do you like about the coast?
Well, I grew up on the coast, so obviously I'm partial to living in that area. So I grew up going to the beach. So for me, my quality of life is going to be having the beach as my backyard. All the local businesses in the area as well. It has a really healthy economy supporting those who live in the community. As well as it's just super fun. There's a lot of young people, a lot of young couples. I feel like it's just a fun environment.
For sure.
To live in.
That makes sense. I mean, I like going to the coast. Obviously, I don't live there. For me, what I like about being inland is I like having a lot of space. Okay, so I like to be able to go off-road or like go ride a motorcycle or shoot guns or I like to do that sort of stuff, which obviously at the coast I couldn't really do. And being that I'm not like a huge beach guy, I like to go, but it's not like a top priority for me. I guess that would be why I tend to be more of a fan of inland. So beyond that, though, obviously the pricing is going to be a lot higher on the coast because there's more demand to be there. Do you think that is it worth it to you to pay more to be on the beach?
In my opinion, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously.
For sure.
But because there's more demand, in my opinion, you're going to get greater value out of any sort of investment property or just in general, your quality of life out there. I think it's going to be better. It's less hot. I know my family's lived there for forever, and I can go out and someone will ask me if I'm John Ford's daughter because the community there is pretty small.
Yeah, for sure.
And though you are getting smaller square footage, I think it's worth it because the beach is your backyard.
Now, for sure, that makes sense. And from an investment standpoint, rent's high anywhere in San Diego County, but obviously being right by the beach, rent's like a super high premium. So if you wanted to be a landlord and maybe have like a duplex or something, your cash flow, even though you're going to pay a lot for the duplex, your cash flow would probably be pretty good because the rents are so high, I would imagine.
Yeah, rent is pretty high. I would say average one bedroom west of the 101 is going to be like $2,500, and that's for probably 700 to 900 square feet.
That's crazy.
But on the flip side of that, with rent, if you wanted a 2-bedroom west of the 101, it's only going to be a little bit higher at like $3,200.
Wow. So what would you say is like the biggest downside of living on the coast, like to you?
Biggest downside is probably traffic.
Gotcha.
So during this season, we have the Del Mar Fair and we have the races, which is going to clog up the 5. So what would normally be a 10-minute drive can potentially be 45 to an hour.
Oh, wow.
So staying off the 5 is definitely crucial during this time of year because it's a little painful. But there's other ways to go. So if you live there, you know the back roads that tourists don't know.
For sure.
So it's not that bad.
And see, I would actually say the same thing. Like the downside to me of living inland, especially being as far as Ramona, is like basically anywhere you go that's not in Ramona, you're looking at a minimum of like a 30-minute drive, and that's with no traffic. But you got to go 20 plus miles to Escondido, 20 plus miles to Poway, downtown's an hour. So like it's a bit of a trek to kind of get anywhere. So you're going to put a lot of miles on your car. Obviously that's going to cost money to drive that much. However, the houses are going to cost less. So, it just kind of depends like where you work and do you mind driving a lot because you are going to spend time on the road.
Yeah, I know it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get out here from Encinitas, so it's definitely a little bit further than I'm used to driving because for me, I live in downtown Leucadia. I have a grocery store behind my house. I have multiple bars and restaurants by me. I literally can walk.
Yeah,
wherever.
See, that's something I can't do. I literally can walk nowhere from my house. So, that's something that I kind of wish I could do. For me, though, the one thing that would really bother me about living on the coast, and this is like a personal thing, but like, I hate struggling to find parking. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm having to battle to park somewhere, or like I'm searching blocks and like looking for parking spaces, like in PV or whatever, I hate that. I like to come home and just like park my car wherever I want. You know what I mean? It's easy. So like, it's funny, but like that would be the main thing that would bother me. And like
You
aside,
can tell he grew up in Ramona.
yeah, for sure. I just park wherever on the lawn, on the front. Not the lawn. I don't have a lawn, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's nice to me. It's
Okay.
just like having that ease of just coming home and parking or whatever.
I mean, in general, like I have my own parking space at my
which
house.
is nice. Yeah.
I mean, Justin does have to park maybe up the road a little bit,
Right.
but it's pretty close in general.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, and two, if you live in the area, like I've lived in Leucadia for long enough that I know where there will always be parking. Or I know where most people think you can't park, but that you actually can, so you learn where you can park. In the worst case scenario, people move so quickly on the coast. Like today I went to coffee, wasn't any parking, I did one lap and a spot opened up.
Yeah, for sure. It's very quick. So what would you say is like kind of the forecast of like what do you think is going to happen with the real estate market in Leucadia, like in your area within the next like year or two? Like, do you have any sort of thoughts on what's going to happen?
I would say, so for those who aren't familiar, Encinitas is kind of made up of three parts. You have Leucadia, which is north, you have Encinitas, which is center, and then you have Cardiff, which is going to be the southern end. And if you look at downtown Encinitas, when I was growing up, it was really small. I mean, where like the Whole Foods was and that whole downtown was dirt. And this is just in my generation and not that old.
Right.
And so what I think is unfortunately going to happen to Leucadia is it's going to become more like Encinitas, whereas Leucadia right now is super funky. We have a weird like lifeguard chair store. We have an antique clock store that have been there for probably over 50 years since Leucadia became a little town. However, we've seen newer construction coming into Leucadia and prices go up in Leucadia, so I would imagine probably over the next 10 years, I think prices are going to go up a lot. And it's going to be harder to buy there because its funkiness and a little bit of quirkiness is going to kind of go away, unfortunately.
So you think it'll kind of become like more of like a corporate, like generic feel, sort of?
I would hope not, but potentially, yeah. I know
Gotcha.
the community in Leucadia specifically is super strong. For example, a St. Archer just went in downtown Leucadia, and nobody is going to it because it's our first non-local business to go in on that main strip on the 101 in Leucadia. And so people are kind of protesting, and there's a bar that's local, the Regal Seagull, right next door. Everyone prefers to go there.
Wow. Very loyal people.
They're very
like.
loyal.
That's
And
crazy.
people who live there, a lot of people grew up there.
Yeah.
So they've seen the huge change in the coastal community, or that one specifically. And they're willing to fight to keep it the same.
Yeah.
However, it's hard to keep it the same.
Yeah,
I mean, there's even been changes in the last 2 years.
It's tough, because new people come in too. They don't know how it was, just so things change. I mean, it's the same like with one thing I like about Ramona is like, so a lot of people will ask me about like Fallbrook or Valley Center thinking that they're like Ramona, and to me, they're really not. What I like about Ramona is that although it's rural and there's space, there's also everything you need. There's all grocery stores, bunch of restaurants, like gas stations, like all sorts of stores. Anything you need is basically here. So theoretically, if you worked in Ramona or worked from home, you really don't have to leave, which I like.
Yeah.
Whereas if you live in Valley Center, you kind of gotta leave to go shop or like do anything. There's nothing there really. And same with Fallbrook has a little more, but Fallbrook to me is so like buried and it's like one way in, one way out. So like I just feel like kind of like trapped in there. Whereas like Ramona, I don't feel that way. And it's kind of similar to what you're saying, where I don't think people in Ramona are really that loyal to like local business as much as what you're saying. But I do think there's like an aspect of that. Like there's this place. There's like a Ramona Family Naturals or something like that, but it's like a local organic store. And obviously we have Stater Brothers and Albertsons, but a lot of people I think shop there because they want to support not only the local business, but also like it's like healthier organic foods, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there is like an aspect of that, but I don't think it's as strong.
Yeah, in Leucadia it's really strong. And even in Encinitas, which has become way more like a tourist attraction than it used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a Whole Foods in Encinitas for, I don't know, maybe a few years. I would have to check and see. But because so many people shop at the farmer's market, literally right behind it, it closed.
Wow.
So it was one of 9 locations in the entire U.S. that Whole Foods decided to close because it wasn't doing well.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, I mean, everyone in Encinitas, Leucadia, they're all a little bit hippie-ish, so they're very, very much in support of local businesses.
Yeah.
And in general, everyone knows everyone. So, like, I know the owner of Fish 101, I know the owner of Lofty Coffee. We know, like, how those things started and how well they're doing, so we always want to be in support of those.
That's awesome. So it sounds to me like basically if you like a small community feel and kind of like, you know, just being a part of like a little community and like a group, then it's like Encinitas is a cherry spot to be, or Leucadia is a good spot to be, because like it just sounds like almost like a big family thing, you know?
Totally.
And I think, you know, that's like unique. I don't think a lot of places really have that, you know, as much. And you know, some people might not even like that because they want to just like do their own thing. But I don't know. I think that's awesome. You know, I think that's really cool. And you know, I just think that it's nice that San Diego County literally offers like any sort of living you want. You can be on the coast in a city, or on the coast in a little town, or you can be in Santee or like Alpine, or
like suburbia, San Marcos.
Exactly. So I just think it's cool that San Diego County has so much to offer, and you being by the coast see like, you know, one sort of thing, and me being up here, you know, it's like it's totally, even though we're both in San Diego County, it's still a lot different too, which is cool.